to this channel where we spread love and positive vibes. And I want to start by thanking our new subscribers, our returning subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing to this channel and helping us to spread love and positive vibes. We don't take it for granted, guys. We always tell you that. We pray for you that you be blessed, you be enlarged, you be protected and shielded. And today I'm going to actually talk about something that has made me so sad that I decided to talk about it. It is very unfortunate when such things happen to people who are good, people who are great. You know, it is said that bad things happen to good people. And I want to tell you, this is something I felt deep down myself, like I would shed tears, like that I would cry. I watched Iam Marwa shooting a video of the people who have been ungrateful to him. And he was recording the many journeys he has made and the many hurdles in life he has jumped so that he can grow his channel. He was narrating when he was at one time, he had gone to India, America, on the deserts with the wife. Those stories made me to wonder, what is wrong with people? Because he was talking about these guys who have ever come to his home. They were given food. Some of them, actually, by the time they were going to Iam Marwa's house, they wanted to commit suicide. I remember this guy called Nairobi teacher. He arrived at Iam Marwa's home when he didn't have fear. He wanted to commit suicide. He was telling Marwa, I am in the verge of killing myself. And Marwa, being a good person, helped this guy. And when this guy was uplifted and he came out of the situation he was in, he started going against Marwa. Not even him. I remember this guy called E2. He came to Iam Marwa also when he had some problems and he was assisted. And I remember some people saying, why is E2 posting videos of content they have created with Marwa before Marwa creates? When I look at these people, actually they are neighbors in the Nyambohanse village. And then I look at Mama Ann, who was actually struggling. I have said it in the other video. A woman who was struggling, and this is, you cannot say that this woman is young. You know, the young people, you would think they are competing, they have other issues of not being mature, but this is an elder woman who understands that when someone helps you, they have done a great thing to you. They have made your children to go to school when they would have dropped out of school. They have made your children to sleep in a better house when they were sleeping in a very bad state. And therefore, my heart breaks to see how people can be ungrateful, to see how people can be manipulated to cut the hand that once fed them. I didn't want to talk about all that. I wanted to talk about something that the mwango herself said. And I will also, in this video, talk about some of the mistakes Iam Marwa has made. They are not really mistakes. It is because of her good nature. And yeah, I'm going to highlight them. But before then, let me talk about something that the mwango said in her live video, I think yesterday or this morning. And she came to the live video and said, if at all she's visited by people like Esther or Kino or any other friend who visits her, she usually makes sure they know that they have come to visit her and therefore they will not go entering the houses of the neighbors, eating food from their pots and doing all that. And she said, when someone comes to visit me, they have come purely to my house and they are my business. And therefore they cannot go to my neighbors to eat there. And she also declared, I myself, I don't eat from my neighbors. I only eat from my uncle, my brother, and our home. And she said that I've taken this from my dad because my dad can never accept food from the neighbors. And this made me to recall back and said, I have had very many people coming from those areas, Kisii, Western, Kenya, Nyanza, talking about witchcraft. And there is one time I met a lady. She was an elderly lady. And this lady was in very deep problems. She didn't have something to eat. She didn't have a house to live in. And actually, he had only one son because she had daughters. These daughters were well educated. And therefore, they went back to the village to build a house for this lady, for their mother, in other words. And it was a good house. And every time one of them went to the village to check the progress of the house, when she came back to Nairobi, she could have stomachache and die. And that is how her 6 children died, all of them. And she was left with a son. And that son married. And when the wife went to check the progress of the same house, she died. So this man, because of the many tremors of the sisters and the wife dying, she lost it. He lost it. The son now became crazy. And therefore, at the point I found this lady, she was in a very, very poor state. And I came to learn a lot about the mwango story. That she doesn't entertain eating in the neighbor's village. I remembered there was this woman. Guys, you can remember, if you watch, it was Masharia. I think it was Ken Masharia's channel during the party that was in Iam Marwa's villa. During that time, I was also there. And Masharia reported about this woman who was on the other side of the river, and she was trying to actually say slogans that no one was understanding. It's like they were cursing slogans. And she was an elder woman. And I actually talked about her in one of my videos. And I remember this lady could go around and she looked like she was very bitter. Remember that this is a woman who is a neighbor to Iam Marwa. And I wondered, could the problems of Iam Marwa have started from this woman? This slogan she was saying, what was she saying? What were the curses she was drawing in Iam Marwa's compound? And it's a high time Iam Marwa actually prays and protects herself with the blood of Jesus together with his family. The other thing that made me to think, so that is one thing that I remembered, that there was this elder woman, actually she was worth to be Iam Marwa's mother. And she was going round. You know, guys, Iam Marwa's villa is at an up, somewhere up there. And when you come to the end of his shamba, there is a river where these people used to have clay bath. And therefore, across that river, there is a small forest. And that is where this lady was. And she was saying some things, Masharia was saying, this woman was saying some things which they could not understand. You see, some people are very jealous. Some people are very evil. Actually, the Bible says, the minds of men are evil. It's only God who can search people and know how deep evil can be in them. So when the mwango talked about not eating the food of the neighbors, I actually understood her completely. And remember this old woman who was actually chanting slogans. I don't know whether I can call them slogans or what they are. She was talking about things they could not be understood. Then comes these people who work with Iam Marwa, and then they become so bitter, they become so competitive, they go and join the Rezi gang, and they start spreading lies, and start spreading gossips, and start spreading hatred to the people that Iam Marwa shoots content so that they can listen. In other words, to the fans of Iam Marwa. And I also remembered when the mwango talked about not eating food, I also remembered there were very many cases of death in Iam Marwa's villa. And this made me to turn back. You see, the mwango was saying, I cannot allow my friends to go and eat outside our home. I cannot allow them to go and eat in my neighbors' houses. What if, I'm just saying what if, maybe I'm overthinking, I don't know. What if these women ate in the neighbors and the neighbors wanted to create a situation whereby people will see that people are visiting Iam Marwa's villa and they are dying. Because that is the story that came up later. Who was actually after these women? I remember one woman, and you know, the last person to be seen with this woman who had come from US, and she was a Kenyan. She went to a hotel, and she spent some time there, and there was this guy called Sijo, who went, and he was the last person to see this woman. And the woman was found dead. There are so many things that came to my mind when I heard the mwango talking about not eating from the neighbors. And she actually talked about poisoning. So I wondered, could these women have come across somebody who wants to pin, or rather, somebody who wants it to look like these people are actually dying when they are at Iam Marwa's hands? I remember there is this, what is it already still, who came out of Iam Marwa, went to his home, and he spent, I think, a month, and then later died. This made me to think about the kind of neighbors Iam Marwa and the mwango have. Because sometimes neighbors are supposed to be people who love one another. Neighbors are supposed to be people who care about one another. If my house catches fire, my neighbor is supposed to be the first one to look for solutions to put off the fire. But if we have such neighbors, and I really recalled Mama Ann being assisted by Iam Marwa, and I could see that house being built from the scratch to the finishing of that house when it was opened. And now this woman, same woman, brought the road so that Iam Marwa cannot access his villa. Can you see the way people can be evil? People are actually evil. Look at Nairobi teacher. I'm going to mention them today. Nairobi teacher came when he was in a very bad state. He didn't have fare. He was actually contemplating murdering himself. And he came to Iam Marwa, and Iam Marwa pitied him and assisted him. He went again and started talking about him. Mogesi. Is it Mogesi? The same guy. You see? These are people that Iam Marwa has actually put very close to him, opened his gates to them, helped them, assisted them, gave them shout-outs. Their channels have grown because of the fans of Iam Marwa. They have gotten whatever they have reached for because they were introduced by this great man to YouTube. Now, let me say categorically that in Kenya, there are very many great YouTubers. And not just in Kenya. If you go to Nigeria, we have Odmaya, the one Marwa was talking about. We have never had Odmaya inviting people, uplifting the rights of people, or doing anything. I'm not against Odmaya, because people can be different in their call. And everybody has his call. We have very big YouTubers in Kenya. I know them. None of them opens the door for other people to benefit from where he's benefiting. The haters might say a lot of stuff. You might also come and attack me because of defending me. But I want to stand and say, I have never seen such a generous man. I have never seen a man with such a great heart. I have never seen a man who wants even the people surrounding him to rise like him. Most people would not want you to be where they are. They will block every way that can make you to reach where they are. This guy opened his doors to people, his neighbors, giving them shout outs, opening for them YouTubes, carrying them along to see that they have stood. And we have talked about very many of them here. Mayuguno, Iam Mayuguno. It's Nasto. This Gintu, Mogesi, African Cook, the one who went again and turned against him. African Cook, I found her there. I was with her in Iam Marwa's villa. And I want to say, African Cook had actually offered me to go and sleep. He had some small houses that were acting like Airbnb. And I want to say, sometimes we are human. We can have weaknesses. We can have drawbacks. But I think it is good to focus on the good side of a person. Very few people, actually there is none in Kenya, who can actually take you along what he does and actually lift you. We have seen Iam Marwa lifting. He transformed Nyambohansa village. And the same village is eating him. The same village want to see him struggling, want to see him on his knees. Very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. And by the end of this video, I'm going to highlight some of the mistakes that Iam Marwa could have made. Sometimes it is good to help people. But other times, I think it's good to keep off people because people can be very bad. You cannot even tell who you are helping and who will go against you, who will betray you, who will go to put you in the fire. There are some things that I feel that maybe caused Iam Marwa's criticisms to increase. One, Iam Marwa being a generous person, and I think they are not really drawbacks, they are actually strong points, but people take them like weaknesses. Iam Marwa opened his gate to everybody. Sometimes, and I know he also opened his gates to me. He didn't know me. He didn't know where I had come from. He didn't know anything about me. I just went to him. I told him, I have heard about you. I have been watching you. And I decided to come to your party. And it was so great to us. And therefore, I remember there were people lining up for shout-outs. And I have repeated it here. I didn't give him even a coin. And he actually shot a video with me. You can actually check my channel, you will see. This is the man who does not know you, but he's willing to hold your hand. There are not many who are like that. And I want to say categorically, if you are there criticizing this man, talking about the mwango and her family, first ask yourself, how many people have you held their hands and uplifted them? How many people have you opened your gate for to come to your house? If you are good, the way you portray in the social media platforms, open your gate to about 50 people, not even them. There are many people that were going to Iam Marwa. 50 people, we see whether they'll come out speaking your goodness. Yeah, because most of the criticisms, they focus on what the people say that were there and the neighbors. I remember I found so many neighbors. Some of them, they are being paid school fees. Others are being given shout-outs. Others are being given jobs there. And these are the same people that are actually biting his, what is it called? The part he was showing us in the video. The part of the leg that if you are beaten, you cannot walk. They want to cripple him. They want to completely finish him. Marwa, maybe you watch my videos recently. You have gone through a lot. And the best gold has to pass through fire. I think I told you that in the comment section. But I also want to tell you, You have to run from these situations. The mwango said you actually told her to give shout outs to some people and she refused. I think keeping off is not pride. Keeping off people is not arrogance. I know your nature is to help. Your nature is to carry people. Your nature, you are a great man. But I think now, even if you're going to help people, help the general village. Don't entertain individuals coming to your house. Don't entertain people who will come and later backbite you. You can take a project in the village, like you can take a project of a nursery, a project of a football pit, a project of a volleyball pit, and a project that is going to help the rest of the community. If you look at most of the celebrities, they don't entertain people to come to their house. They help them individually. They actually help with something that is going to help the whole community. You are a good person, but I think do not also entertain people coming to shoot videos in the villa, in your compound. You have now to stand and be firm. I know you have told so many people you will open the gates for them. But I think it's a high time you stand firm, defend Rocio, your wife, defend the coming child. Because with a newborn child, these streets are not very good. Actually, the mwango said it clearly. Not everyone that comes to tell you, to laugh with you, is actually your friend. Most of the friends are wolves in sheep clothing. They want to come and find about you so that they can take the gossip outside there. And most of them can be paid very little money to destroy completely somebody's name. Because you're going to get a child, it's good to put boundaries. It's good to close your gates and open them when it is very, very necessary. I know you assisted us because of your good heart. But I think for you to now shield your family, for you to protect your wife and your child, you have to be firm. You have to stand and say no. You have to learn to say no. I know you don't know how to say no, but you have now to learn to say no. I remember you are telling your PA, that time it was Mini Harvey and Paris. Paris had gone to Mombasa, so that by the time I arrived in your villa, it was Mini Harvey. And you could tell her, you take care of the people who are coming and don't allow them to come. But when people approach you, you cannot be able to refuse. It's your nature. But I think now, please practice some restraint so that your home can be protected. You can also protect yourself and your family. Because this hatred is going too far. Somebody went to the comment section to tell me, it's like the haters don't hate Marwa, they just act to get content. But when you look at these people and Carlo on trending, the way they shoot their videos, it is actually completely hatred. And this guy called who? Is it Masubo? They really hate. You know, they might not be, to them, they might not be hating, but to the people who are listening, to the people who are consuming this content, to the people who are actually watching their channels, I tell you, it has a lot of effects on them. It has a lot of psychological effects on the fans. And most of them come to hate these people because of just the gossips they have had around the streets of YouTube. I want to assure you, these channels of Iam Marwa, maybe they are not getting what they were getting before. Because this hatred has got roots on some people. There are people who just want to hear something negative and they take it as if it is the gospel truth. I've actually seen some people commenting and saying, when I heard this, I decided to unsubscribe. Because some people just need to hear, not to prove anything. They don't even wait to see whether whatever they are hearing is the truth. They just go and unsubscribe and they unfollow and they stop listening to somebody. And these are fans that were loyal fans to Iam Marwa and the mwango. So, this negativity really affects people. And therefore, Marwa, the mwango, It's good to protect your family. It's good to protect yourselves. And the only way to protect yourself is to completely refuse anyone entering your compound. To refuse people shooting videos in your compound, whether they are friends or not. Just give them shout outs if you are to give them. But let them shoot videos outside your villa. I think you have to put rules in place. There is no place that can learn without rules and regulations. And it's a high time you do that. Because if you don't do that, by the time your child comes, it will not be a good environment for a child. A child needs peace. A child needs somewhere conducive to be brought up. And therefore, it's a high time you take charge. You take charge of your compound, take charge of their family, take charge of your life. You would want to please everyone, but people are not that good. Some people will appreciate what you do, but others will not. And they will come attacking you. They will come wanting to bring you down. They will come to destroy you. They will come to put fire on you. So it's good to be careful and to protect your family. And guys, I think I'll stop at that. Bye-bye for now. God bless you. See you next time.